All right, this is probably as good a time as any to give you guys this announcement.
It's got a soul, this hero farm. It falls asleep beside my arms. We work the fields under the stars. The love is here at Gold Shop Farm. City life, yeah, had its charms, but we would dream of the fields under the stars. I fall asleep inside its arms. The love is here at Gold Shop Farms. The love is here at Gold Shop Farms.
Release the Kraken! Good morning, duckery doos. How are you doing? I bet you're hungry. Enjoy some old vegetable scraps, guys. Over the last couple of days, we've experienced a significant melt. We had temps as high as like the mid-50s yesterday. So a lot of the snow's melting, which is a really good thing. But at the same time, we got a lot of mud and all that stored up manure that we've had out here and elsewhere is starting to come to light. So things are getting a little ugly. But let's go out and check on what our egg count looks like for today. Well, that's 13 eggs out of a possible 14 layers, especially considering that we had 14 eggs yesterday. I'd say that the girls are getting up to peak production right about now. It's pretty good to see. Let's take this opportunity to turn the compost. Look at that. Starting to melt. It's just caked in manure, especially right around the water dish. Whew. Look at this, right? That is just one big poop glacier that's starting to melt. It's gonna make for some good gardening this summer, that's for sure. Whew. What did you guys do? What did you guys do? What are you guys doing? Ducks, what are you doing? You're making a jailbreak for it. That's not allowed. It's gonna easily be another month before I get you guys on. You know where you belong. There, let me feed you guys, you animals. There you go, chow down. Chow down! I was telling some friends on Twitter the other day that there's no better cardio than turning a whole bunch of old duck litter. Whew. All right, this is probably as good a time as any to give you guys this announcement. I think a lot of you are gonna find this interesting and are gonna be excited for it, or at least I hope so. Some of you guys are gonna be annoyed by it, but what can you do? You can't please all the people all the time. While I'm out here on the farm, I often find that I am listening to audiobooks and podcasts. Whether it's working around the farm, doing chores, in the summer months when I'm out mowing especially. And when I'm doing that stuff, I'm finding that I'm always listening to audiobooks and podcasts. And I love sort of audio storytelling. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of telling stories on this YouTube channel. There are a lot of good podcasts out there about farming and homesteading. Permaculture Voices, the Permaculture Podcast with Scott and Mann, the Modern Homesteading Podcast with Harold Thornborough. Jason over at Cog Hill Farm has a great podcast. My buddy Jason Contreras over at Sow the Land has a great podcast that he and his wife just started up. And so if you look out there, there's a lot of podcasts. But one of the things that I've noticed with a lot of those podcasts are they're very focused on, how-to and advice. And I know a lot of people out there really like that stuff. But for me, the story junkie that I am, I'm always curious about the story of these people who are showing up on these podcasts. How did they get to be doing what they're doing? What's their plans for the long term? How do they make their money? How do they make it all work? Like, what are the hard parts? What are the joyous parts? What advice would they have for people out there who are looking to do something similar and strike out on their own? And it really had me just wishing that, why doesn't somebody out there make a podcast like this? Because that's what I really want to hear. And after, muttering this over and over for several months, I decided, you know what, dude? You should take it on yourself and make your own podcast. So I'm officially launching a brand new podcast on March 21st. And this podcast is going to be called the Goldshaw Farm Podcast. But most of the podcast isn't going to have anything to do with us. What we're going to be focused on is telling the stories of people who are homesteading, farming, and really just following their dreams. How they got to doing what they're doing, why they're doing it, and what are the things that they're dreaming about for the future. The format's going to be pretty simple. Each episode is going to have me interviewing somebody and talking to them about how they ended up doing what they're doing. It's officially available today. I've been working really hard to try to make it as available as possible, as broadly as possible. So that includes Spotify, Stitcher, Apple iTunes podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, and I'm working through the process of making it broadly available. If you're having trouble finding it, though, you can always link to it directly right from our website at goldshawfarm.com. And let me just tell you guys, the guests that I have for this podcast are going to be awesome. To get things started off right, I actually harangued a few of my friends into doing the first couple of episodes. So episode number 1 is going to feature Jess from Roots and Refuge Farm. Episode number 2 is going to feature Jake and Becky from White House on the Hill. And episode number 3 is going to actually feature Jason from Sow the Land. Each of them are incredible people, and they each have a very unique and different story in terms of how they ended up doing what they're doing. Their homesteads and their farms, with their families, and even what they're doing with some of the things on social media. This podcast really is your opportunity to get sort of an inside view into their world, stuff that you don't usually see in their videos. And so I'm really hoping you guys enjoy this. So this is just basically saying, hey, look, if you enjoy the content that I make here on my YouTube channel, you're probably going to also really enjoy this podcast. I will be putting out episodes pretty much weekly, I think. I mean, I'm going to see how this goes. I want to make sure it's all sustainable, especially once the summer months really kick into high gear and things get crazy here on our farm. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be one of those things that you guys are going to enjoy. So really my request is, just give it a listen. Listen to the first couple episodes. Tell me what you think. Tell me what's good. Tell me what's bad. I really want to know. If you're enjoying them, please rate and review them on all the major podcast places that you can find. This thing isn't going to grow without the help and support of guys like you. I really appreciate everything you have all done for me so far, and all the support and comments and feedback and engagement that I've gotten out of you guys. I know this is another ask, but I'm hoping you guys get a lot of value out of this. So be sure to go check out the Goldshaw Farm Podcast. Like I said, you can either find it at goldshawfarm.com, or you can check it out on any major podcast system. iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, Pocket Cast, SoundCloud, any of those. I'm trying to make this thing available. And if you have a place that you actually would like it to show up that it's not already showing up, shoot me a note too, and I can try to amend that as well. So that's all I got. Back to ducks being stupid, but that is our announcement. And don't worry, you guys, I'm going to keep pumping out YouTube videos every Monday and Thursday, and sometimes some bonus videos scattered in between. So this doesn't change anything with the YouTube channel, and it doesn't change anything with the farm. This is just something I've been really wanting to do for a while, and I'm really excited about it.
And that's one thing that I've really had to learn in YouTube is while I'm so thankful for that, it can't be the defining factor. I am so thankful for how YouTube has gone over the last year. It's been life-changing. I mean, it has changed our options. It's given us the ability to do more here, to see this dream move a lot faster. We're getting more done in the last year than we've gotten done in years before that, just because it's opened up so many resources. But I don't know, it's humbling, it's amazing, but it's also at the same time